Welcome back, everybody, to the Village Sessions podcast.
Bringing wisdom home.
We thought it'd be fun to kick off the rest of our episodes for this season with doing a little wardrobe check-in. This is probably one of the 3 most frequently asked questions that we see
asked
from you guys. Where did you get this? Do you guys have a like to know it shop? We
explored with the like to know it.
We explored, we experimented, and it
Didn't
turns
work
out
for us.
Which we nothing is on like to know.
Yes.
Question mark.
Yeah. Question mark. Question mark. A lot of our stuff is either vintage or you can still get it, but it's a smaller run and owned and operated business where everything is handmade, which we really appreciate. So
It's part of our value system.
Yeah, that's our value system. That's what we love to wear, and I think that's why you guys love the clothes so much. And so we're just gonna run it through. Michelle, you want to start?
Yes, I have loved this company for me love it long time, and it's Sueño, and it's kawaii and hand dyed. And actually, this one was gifted to me by Corey. And it's funny now, I have to ask Corey if she already has something before I buy it.
Yep.
And so I sent her, and I'm like, hey, I've had my eye on this dress for years. I'm going to buy it. She was like, as a matter of fact.
I have it,
and
you can have it.
I have it in my closet. And 3 days prior, I had said out loud, I said, my favorite thing in my closet, I do not wear right now because it's not very easeful to breastfeed in. And so I was like, it's going to be another 2, maybe 3 years until I wear the dress. And I was like, I want more use for it. And then Michelle was like, I'm looking at these dresses. And I was like, this is yours.
Yeah, take
because
it.
I love it that much and I want to give it to you.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be worn.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like an art piece in my closet.
I love it. And I can't remember where I got this. And I wear a Citizen Eco Drive. I mean, I love me a Rolex, and yet I love the principle behind this watch because it charges in the sun and with movement.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I know nothing about
Citizen
watches.
Eco Drive. Yeah, I've worn these for literally like 10 or 12 years.
Is it a European brand?
And well, I think they're more branded American. I don't know where they're made.
Okay.
But I do. This one's it's an octagon, so there's 8 sides to it, which is symbolic to me. And then Tiffany, I don't remember something, and then Monarch.
Yes.
Nicole.
We love Monarch. Monarch is one of our favorite. It's our favorite small jewelry boutique where we live. And so we shop there very often.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you wearing?
This is Saffron Lane. It is a business out of Australia. It's a slow fashion brand. They make their dresses in India. They work with a factory in India. But this is cotton voile. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what is this word, Michelle? Because I know it. Yeah. But it's the sheer look, the sheer cotton look. This is actually called their birthing gown.
Oh,
yeah. I bought 2 when I was pregnant with our first son. And then I just happened to get on their website. This might have been like 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. And they had a new stock in. And so I got this one and another one I'll probably wear later in the episode recordings.
Love this on you.
Yeah, it feels really good. It's got the butterfly sleeves, breastfeeding access. It's flowy, so maybe I'll wear it when I'm
giving birth.
I'm going to put a corset on that and wear it as at a Ren fair and,
a little more Renaissance.
Yeah, a little bit more Renaissance.
I'm like baby
pirate.
Doll with it.
Angel We're like, baby doll. It's a pirate. It's edgy.
But this is funny because all of us have our own like very unique taste style. They intermingle though. They interweave.
Yes.
But something, I guess, after working with you in mentorship, I just got a lot more clear on what is in my closet. Does this match who I am and the frequency that I want to give out or portray and the frequency that I want to hold? And organic pieces, small brands that are really into slow fashion. That is part of my value system.
Yep.
So
literally it was working with you. I'm just now realizing I redid my entire closet during that time based on the tones that were correct for me. Michelle has like a process and like a system that she uses that matches colors and even like the shapes that you wear and the neckline, and it has to do with basically your even like down to your mitochondria.
Yeah, it was a system out of
it's Taylor Sinclair's Illuminescence. Yeah, we'll have to put that in the show notes.
It's out of Dallas, Texas.
She developed that. She's from LA and she developed it on Kauai, I believe. Interesting.
Yeah, that is an interesting connection.
Yeah, and then the ladies in Dallas, the Tone Sisters, is actually who I worked with 7 years ago and did that system. You and I happen to be the same tone. Molly is a different tone, and so I highly recommend that using that system.
That's why she checks in with me before she buys things.
I do.
Because we like the same things.
And I check in with you guys and ask if I can wear pink on the recording. And they're like, let's see.
How you guys feel about pink? We're like,
What shade?
Jewelry.
Ooh, these are cuffs. These are Bali find gold, 22 karat. I think these are 11 karat gold hoops. And then, everybody asked about this. This is gold dipped, but it's Cleopatra's bling is the actual pendant. And then this was a gold fine 22 karat in Bali as well.
Love that.
Nice.
So mix and match.
Mix and match. This is also from Monarch, that jewelry boutique. They have clothes in there that they sell. So I got that from Monarch. I got this from Monarch. Just little small selections. But this is handmade in Mexico, and the brand is Rufina. And it's just like a
It's got to be cotton.
Looks cotton,
like 100% cotton.
But a really nice, interesting weave.
And then woven together. And then these are my favorite jeans that I have found since I started a BOWSPRING practice. And I found that jeans fit. Go watch our clothing episode where we talk about the fashion industry. So I was experimenting with lots of brands. And then I think Molly was wearing these, and this was the first time I saw them. And they're actually from Abercrombie. It's the Curve Love 90s high-waisted fit. And it's pretty much my favorite fit and what feels best to my curves now. And then necklace, Ananda Balinese brand. And then earrings are actually Molly's from Monarch as well.
Yeah.
We love
our Monarch.
Monarch shopping spree.
Nicole.
Yeah.
Repping you.
Nicole?
Well, in the place next door, I think I have these at Tribe.
Oh,
Nice.
love Tribe.
Yeah.
Love Tribe.
We support local.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
love.
as much as we
This
can.
is the thing when people ask, we're like, we basically shop local except for jeans or like denim. But even so, you get them like vintage or thrifted here. So we love to shop local. We love supporting our friends' brands as well. And let's get into the topic today.
Juicy.
This has been a long time coming of just a topic that we felt so excited to talk about because it is so real. It is so imminent. It is something that we've all had experiences with our own developmental process and being able to look at the way that we birth and the way that experience is created from a series of choices, from a series of your belief system, the words that you use. And we're going to kind of just invite you guys to drop into a concept today. And it is the psychology of the word trying. So trying for the birth that you are approaching, the birth that you're planning. For example, what's the most common way that you hear that in a sentence?
One of the most common, I think, initially was, I'm trying for a natural birth in the hospital.
Yes.
Or I'm trying for a home birth.
I'm trying for a VBAC.
I would say those three probably are like the most common that kind of come through the interwebs, come through conversation, especially in my practice. What does it mean to be trying for something?
So we're going to get into the psychology of the word trying, like literally what it means to even speak it. I can kind of unpack basically when I identified this word as a pattern in the world of birth and women who were approaching birth experiences that they felt really excited for and were planning and prepping for them. And it was after I had my C-section. So many of you guys know the story. I had a hospital transfer C-section with my firstborn. And quite soon after that experience, I was like, cool, like this is what happened. And I'm ready to I felt very excited and amped at the time with my belief systems to basically just go in and understand why it had happened. This is kind of it's a developmental stage, right? Where you're like, I want to understand how did this lead to this? And so one of the first things I did was joined a bunch of Facebook groups. Yes, I did.
Dun, dun, dun. Hey, but it was at the time that was the thing to do.
Yeah. And especially back then, because this was 2018. This was 2018. So this was almost 8 years ago, and where a lot of women just shared stories, and they also there was a crowdsourcing element in there that was present as well, and there was more storytelling is what was present in a lot of these Facebook groups. People would go to find a surrogate example of hearing birth stories from their village. That is literally what happened. People would come in and be like, hey, I'd love to hear a story about this. I'd love to hear a story about this. And so something I noticed very quickly was that women so a lot of these Facebook groups were in preparation for a home birth after a C-section, very specifically, like very niche Facebook groups that I joined. I pretty much joined every single one that I could find.
Every each backstory.
Every single one. Yeah. As these women were preparing for their home birth after their C-section, something I noticed unanimously in a lot of the stories were the word trying. There was a post made where it's like, I'm trying for a VBAC and here's what's coming up for me, whether it's, you know, low iron or low blood pressure, or just kind of like fill in the blank with whatever symptom is coming up for them. And even back then, so I'm maybe 3-4 months postpartum at this point. And even back then, I remember having this feeling of when I use that word, I know exactly when I use it. And it's when somebody wants to call me or catch up with me on the phone. And here I am, and my husband is working 12 hours a day. And I'm home with my newborn by myself. And I would text them back. I would like type out the message, like, I'll try to call you Tuesday or Wednesday.
Which means no.
I was gonna say, I literally knew exactly what that word meant as I was typing it out. It meant,
I don't want to talk to you.
If it's convenient, if I roll away.
When pigs fly.
Yeah, when pigs fly. If I have enough energy that day. If everything in my world, you know, somehow rolls out a red carpet and it feels good. And if it works out that way, then I will call. So it's basically like, here's a million things that could happen because I'm not actually bringing myself to that thing. If I wanted to call somebody, if I wanted to hop on the phone and spend my time and my energy in that way, I would say, I will call you on Wednesday. That's what will happen. I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
I mean, we do what we want to do.
Yeah,
we have money for what we want to have money for.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. It's not I plan on or I'm going to try to. It's I'll call you on Wednesday. We'll talk then.
Yeah. It's
very clear. It's like coming from a very clear place. And so, yeah, whenever I would see this word in these Facebook groups shared, I was like, like, because I just because I knew what it felt like in my own body. However, at that point, I had one birth experience. I kept an open mind. So as I started paying more attention, because I had that ping of the word trying, I would notice that these same moms would come back 2, 3, 4 months later, and they would have a repeat C-section. And so now it became kind of like a big curiosity for me. And at this point, I'm like, they know how my brain works. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to actually create this as a hypothesis in my mind and go see if I can confirm. I'm going to go experiment, have a little bias, right? And go see if I can confirm
that bias.
Confirm his bias. Like,
totally.
Love confirming a good bias.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I literally would put in these Facebook groups the word trying in quotation mark. And I would go see and track if women who used the word trying whenever they were pregnant, as they were describing the birth that they ideally wanted to have, if any of these women ended up actually having a home VBAC. 0%.
Shut up.
0%. So that was my
so good.
It's so good. It's the language piece and the belief system around it.
Yeah.
It's 100%. And this is just one window into how powerful a word can mean and how powerful it is to speak. You know, I mean, there's so many thought and belief systems out there that talk about the power of the tongue being life, death, like what you speak matters. And being able to actually examine your words from an objective point of view. Literally this morning, I was like, Molly and Michelle, I just went back and scrolled back through my Instagram and found my post that I had made whenever I had found out that my son was in transverse lie. And I was announcing to my audience at the time, which is interesting. I was like sharing my process in real time versus actually like keeping it on the inside, and what my language was prior to my C-section. So it was in my experience of.
Did you create that outcome with your?
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm reading it and I'm like, this person obviously has a C-section the next day. Like it's literally right
now
there.
that you know what you know.
Now that I know
You're
what I know.
You're planning for it.
I'm literally planning for it. Like I'm planning for it in the words.
And you even like some of the NLP stuff. You even use some language where you were like, I thought a C-section would be like so distant. It was like it was like a
So
far
far away.
memory.
So
a far,
far away. I had put it, yeah, exactly. Every single sentence of that post is very clearly, like literally speaking into existence what my experience would be the next day, having no idea that I would have a C-section the next day.
Wow.
And we're going to unpack that in the kitchen sessions and actually like take it piece by piece and be like, okay, like this is what this phrase means to
this
me
sentence
now.
means this.
Yes. It'll be very obvious to you guys whenever we're looking at it from kind of like a, with a little bit of humor and with objectivity that usually happens with time and space. When you give something
Healing.
time and it marinates and you grow and you develop, there's a different vantage point that you have on experiences that you've had.
You guys saw that research that just came out about time, right?
No.
So there are scientists, physicists who have demonstrated that time is actually flowing in reverse. So we're living in the echo,
Dum, dum.
right?
What?
So we're living in the echo. We've already created it.
I see what you're saying.
And we're living
It's-
in the...
I see what you're saying.
And
It's
what's
almo-
happening... So you created it, and you were living in the...
You were
It was
talking
so
about the
far
follow
away from
through.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was talking about the follow through because what is time?
Right.
And then therefore it's the whole conversation of the chicken or the egg.
Right.
Totally.
This whole conversation is going to be chicken or
Well,
egg.
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole piece is you had a belief system around it, whether it had happened in
Right.
real time in your reality or not. That belief system was there for what you were going to experience.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
in my experience with working in the craniofacial world, which is, as above, so below, right? This part,
yes.
part.
Yes.
No different, actually,
Yes.
really. And so what's interesting about that is what I hear is people say, well, we tried that and it didn't work.
Yes.
So what that means is you already knew what the outcome was.
Yes.
And you also decided you would play around with this pretty much to confirm your bias that it wasn't going to work and that the other thing is going to work. But this is why we talk about this in rooted families and related to symptoms is actually looking at what is. Because the crazy thing about it is we can always change what is
Exactly.
unless we're attached to that outcome, which we're going to create.
I was going to say
Exactly.
the thing to change, like how do you change what is you change your belief system around what it is.
And your actions accordingly.
exactly.
Boom.
Then you take inspired action.
Boom.
If your belief systems shift.
Right.
So something I've noticed in my spaces or DMs or the internet just world in general is this deep sense of kind of like regret and shame with whatever it is that came up. So let's take an example of a woman that's planning for a home birth. And then she's 3 weeks out and she chose a midwife who has a routine, some sort of testing that's aligned with the midwife. And the mom chooses to do that test. And the results are less than ideal. And now the mom is spiraling because she was like, if I had just not taken that test, then I would have the home birth. And I'm like, but is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Because if you can do anything you want,
Anything you want.
You can do
And it
anything
can
you want
also-
with those results.
It can also look like if I had not done that thing they told me to do.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
the responsibility outside of
It's
you.
the scapegoat, blame, victim. It's the triangulation
Yes. Yep.
thing, victim, hero. It's the perpetrator, victim. Yeah.
And with
Victim hero.
that victim triangle, it's such a great window into why we really tunnel vision into one thing where like it was just one thing that screwed up all the plans. Like
Right.
it's like the one thing that you're looking for to be the reason. And what we're doing here is just kind of
Zooming out a little bit.
zooming out a little bit. What have you noticed in your practice?
Well, it's been interesting because I was going to say I have found some of the women there's a grief arc with not receiving, right? And you're talking about the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster. And so what I've noticed in my practice is that women will kind of jump from thing to thing, or then it's the person and they stay on that loop. They'll stay on the triangle somewhere. And then the person, a lot of times, I think we kind of unpack this in the Your Life is Your Prenatal episode, but the person that was the perpetrator now becomes, oh, I see it clearly. They saved me. Like it becomes this whole kind of introverted, really weird, messy spiral. And they'll go all around every point on the triangle trying to make sense of it, which makes totally, you're trying to make sense of it. But instead of making sense of it with the lens of responsibility, it's all outside projection. Of course, birth is You know, even like the idea of natural birth, they almost cancel each other out.
Right.
Birth is natural.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
where did that even come into play? Where we're trying for a natural birth.
Right. When that's the standard.
That's the standard.
Yeah. I'm trying to breathe. Okay. Well, yeah.
Why
Go
can't
ahead.
let's take a breath.
Let's do it.
It creates so much tension and messiness around the word natural, as opposed to, is it who you are? Like, can you just have this experience? And leading up into my birth with my third, one thing that I really, really reprogrammed over that time was the drama experience of birth. And this is something I hear a lot as well, just with this aspect of creating our experiences, and this word of like this idea of tension. Is I had this very dramatic narrative surrounding birth, that it's either going to be crazy, or even when it's like the outcome you want, it's huge, it's emotional,
victorious,
it's victorious, it's like
redemptive.
It's redemptive. And so I very much created that in my second birth, was this big dramatic birth.
I remember too, sorry to interrupt you, but I remember too, in your pregnancy process, there was a lot of opportunity for you to transmute drama. There were like people were telling you things about certain situations, and you had all this opportunity. You could have totally spun that into like these big stories.
Yes.
And you were like, no, I know what I'm doing.
So true.
This is where we're going.
So true. The transmutation.
That's so interesting to me, because that high level of intensity that you were bringing into the mix with the drama and the elevation of the emotions and all that. That has to balance.
Totally.
It has to.
It has to. It's a law of the universe. It has to balance.
And that's where I was going to say,
it's not a sustainable state.
Completely.
Yeah.
I mean, Molly probably has like hundreds of case studies where she's seen this, because she works with women and cares for them in their after process. An area that I see this a lot in my spaces is people will say they almost felt a little let down by just the neutrality of birth, that they needed to create some sort of drama in the postpartum, whether it's a hemorrhage.
I was going to say, it comes up in the breastfeeding. That's what we saw all the time in midline revolution.
That they go sailing through birth, and then there's
I had a free
problems.
birth, and then they're in the doctor's office getting a frenectomy. And it's like, okay, super fascinating.
Yeah, that's super interesting. With the rebalancing, that being the principle of like, if you bring all this tension into it, and then you just have like a neutral experience, which it was designed to perhaps be a very neutral experience.
Integrated.
It's integrated. That's exactly what my birth experience was like with Arlo. And I noticed this where people were like, so what happened? Like, what happened as if it was some crazy story. Yeah. And I'm like, no, it literally was just the most integrated experience I possibly could have imagined.
Yeah.
It's funny too, when I talk about this baby and our vision, I'm just like laying on the bed and the baby comes, and everyone's like, really? Like, yeah. Like, that's literally the vision that I've gotten. Whether it turns out that way, that's what I want to program into this. And the caveat is, it doesn't have to be this like, it doesn't have to be fireworks, and it doesn't have to be drama. We don't have to do anything big.
That feeds the axiom of reality seeks neutrality. So for it to be real, just like you were talking about last season about, it's just the same as eating a meal or taking a walk or,
waking up in the morning,
an optimal, and a massive poop or something like that. It's like, great, let's just do the day. And so what's interesting about that is like reality seeking neutrality. It's almost like the hype or the depression is a way to escape the reality.
Interesting.
Right?
Wow.
So I'm going to step out of myself.
Totally.
Do something that I need to feel myself, so I can feel myself, because that's my set point. That is my real. That is my reality, right? Hearing that also helped me understand my own process, because I have like some really crazy birth stories. And at the same time, I'm like, okay. Like the other part where you're talking about, the diagnoses that require you to do blah, blah, blah. Like my fourth born, I was a partial previa.
Yeah.
And so we'll bookmark that concept and talk about that in the back, because I have a great example of that, and how even in the midst of like absolutely nutty circumstances that I mean,
you still did it. You
I
were
still
just
did it.
going to do what you're going to do
Exactly.
anyway.
Right. And
Yeah.
it was all about internal listening, knowing my body, all that kind of stuff.
This is so interesting because we talk about this in the vessel. It's just like you didn't let that external pressure collapse you. You were just
Not
like,
at all.
no, this is like, I'm having my baby. Thank you for your information.
Yes.
Cool.
On to the next.
It means to, like, let's say the low iron story, the diagnosed low or low ferritin or something, low hemoglobin. That means 100 different things to 100 different people.
That
depending
is
on
such
what
a chaos
direction you're
story
going.
for women too.
It's such a, we should do
A whole episode just on
we really, because this is probably the
hemoglobin.
most common
It
thing.
is so funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And just what iron represents, what hemoglobin represents,
totally.
like, your life force, like your sense of vitality.
I
Bookmark that.
love that.
Bookmarking.
I love the iron conversation, you know, because of the hemochromatosis.
We can get into
piece.
that.
I dig it.
What would you say with this concept of the psychology of trying? What would be your piece that you would like to leave with these women listening? What the word trying means to you?
The word trying to me means failure. I mean, I go Yoda with it. It's like do or do not. There is no try.
It's so good.
Do it or do not do it. Stop trying.
Well, Neville Goddard has the phrase or that axiom
Absolutely.
where he talks about trying is the absence of the reality.
Was listening to that this morning.
Were you?
Yeah.
He literally, there's like somebody, Akira the Dawn, I think, has put together, my husband loves Akira the Dawn, has put together these beats of some of Neville Goddard's old, I guess, speeches or like how he used to talk, long form talk. And one of the quotes is literally that. It's like the absence of trying is you telling your world, your God, that it's not there, that you don't have the thing.
Right.
Because you're telling somebody you're trying.
Right.
Absolutely.
Versus the assumption that this will be true or this is true already.
Right.
In such a simplified way, if you guys even just visualize the word try or like trying on clothes, or it's literally this detached, it's a detachment where it's like this thing over here, an assumption that you're completely separate from that thing, like you're saying, Molly, and that you're just kind of like
Dip your
toes,
in.
dip your toes. Otherwise, you would
I'm going
use
to
a
play with
different.
that. I'm going to play with that concept.
Yeah, play with it.
Not embody it.
It tells me that your mind's already made up
Ooh.
about something.
About
About
something.
something.
And it's not in your conscious awareness yet, and you've not consciously committed to it. And your outcome's already decided.
Totally.
So when you're trying something, you're like playing, and yet it's not play. You think it's serious. You think it's real, right?
Something that's cool we've mapped out in the Village Birth is the archetypal journey too, because every woman is going to have their own belief systems around this word, right? And there's almost this story arc that you guys have both experienced in your births, which is incredible. I experienced it in my own way in birth work and then stepping into my own birth. But you go through this archetypal journey of your relationship with that word.
Right.
Right. So at first, I think we've mapped them out in one of the episodes already, but like the first one's like the traditionalist. She's going to have her own ideas and belief systems about saying the thing that she wants. She has to use the word trying.
I can pull from my experiences where to say I'm going to, for example, have a VBAC at home. At another stage in my life, that would have felt to me, and maybe trying would have been a safer word. It would have felt like, and then we've talked about developmental pieces and developmental. Michelle loves working with people in actually developing their maturity, and there are a lot of us women, adult women, walking around with these kind of sticky points in our timeline where maybe something happened during that time, a death in the family, or big events, right?
And you don't feel the age that you are. That's kind of how you describe it.
And a lot of women will reflect that back to us of like, yeah, you're right. I don't feel the age that I am. I know I'm a 35-year-old woman and I feel like I'm 15 or I feel like I'm 12. And the developmental piece that we were talking about with the word trying, there tends to be this kind of like timid, good girl archetype.
It's child archetype.
Where to even say, I'll have that feels like you're rebelling in some way, as opposed to you being this mature woman who just says, yeah, that's what I'll have. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And it doesn't feel like you're rebelling against God or you're rebelling against your parents or like you
or
just,
you're being God. It's not
that you're being
like
God.
you're creating it. It's just like, this is what I'm declaring and this is what I'll have.
If it feels like that in your body where you're like, I'm very uncomfortable with this conversation because it feels like I'm playing the parent or the authority figure, that is what we're talking about. That you can actually track that a lot of times to where you're at developmentally to even say certain things or make certain choices in your life. It feels like you're actually rebelling against this, against authority or like a parent figure versus that actually being like precise action that you take as a mature and developed woman.
And something that, Michelle, you talk a lot about, the desires of your heart and really uncovering those and knowing what those are. And then the inspired action comes because it's a true, authentic desire. So I think there's a big difference. I just want to name this for everyone listening. There's a big difference in saying, I'm going to have this because you saw it on Instagram or you saw it on, you know what I mean?
It's connected to the heart. Yeah. And it's so funny because how old is my oldest now? 32, 33. And so, 33 years ago, I didn't know the language that I'm using now to talk about this, right? I was 27 years old. And at the same time, the fact that there was no one else around me that I knew, a friend, a relative, that wanted the same things I wanted, that would do things the way that I was going to do them, they were not available to me. I did not have that in my field. I was out of nursing school, had worked in oncology, gastroenterology, industrial toxicology, and all I knew was that this is the way I wanted to birth. That's all I knew. It's all I had. That and Bradley method, husband coach childbirth.
Which speaks so much to the authenticity of it being like deep within you.
Yeah,
within
I didn't
your design
have to have
and
the
your heart.
evidence around me to know what was possible.
Yes.
I knew the physiology. I'd just been to nursing school. I knew how it worked. And I had seen everything that could have gone wrong because I worked in a tertiary care center, right? And I'm like,
You're like, no, thank you.
yeah.
I'm going to choose something else on the menu.
I'm gonna dial this up different. and yet the confidence in my body and the beliefs that I had about nature and the way she worked.
Yep.
I was like, I'm here for this. Literally, you could have put me anywhere and I was going to hold that belief. And everything was going to bend to that. Everything in my world bent to that.
And if you're in the village birth, you know that Michelle's crazy stories.
Oh, crazy.
They're just like
crazy stories.
Unheard of stories.
Yeah, it's just like off the wall, like
How would
stuff.
that happen?
And
How
I'm
would that
like,
happen?
and you know what though? It doesn't hype up drama in me. It's almost like those stories in a sense were for other people, like what other people got out of my story.
Yes.
Well, it was.
I'm just like,
it was
cool.
almost like permission slip.
Yeah,
that's how I felt when I heard your stories. I was like, she just does it.
Yeah.
She just does what she says she's gonna do.
I do.
That's
Absolutely.
it.
And I believe that I can do.
Right.
And so that thing is but that's very consistent with my design.
Totally.
Is embodiment in the body. Trust your body knows. Body. Yep. Right. All freaking day long. And it only makes sense that as I went through the different like professional incarnations too, the belief that I have that the body is whole and present and has all that it needs to heal is unwavering. And so when I think about women who are asking permission with this child archetype, I'm like, what that tells me is that the women around us, I've done a poor job in helping women embody and become who they are in their body and then go out into the world and do what's theirs. I didn't help them get theirs, which is like my whole life now. And because I hear it, I'm like, oh, sis, you don't either understand what your body's capable of, or you're not willing to step into that space and have what you're here for. Now, it's not about where you birth. It's about being in command with the desire of your heart for that. girl, you want to schedule a C-section? I will send flowers. I'll be like, yo, we'll do the meal train. We know exactly what to do. Totally. You go. You do it.
Yeah, you go towards that thing.
If that's authentic to you.
That's authentically you, and that is you. I 100% support you. I'm so glad we have the ability to do that for you.
It's literally the principle. I know we talked about this in Rooted Families webinars and also a lot in the Village Birth. The whole concept of let your yeses be yes and your no's be no. Walk with conviction of your standards in life and be clear on that. And to use the word trying denotes that you are half in and half out.
Right.
That's what that means. There's something about you that does not believe that you can have that thing. And so you're approaching it timidly because what does it mean to you to not get what you want?
It's like the no regrets tattoo. You know
what
the
is
one.
that movie?
What the Millers, something with the Millers, something about the Millers, and the dude.
We're the Millers,
but it's misspelled. Regrets.
That came from a movie. I thought that was in real life.
No, that came from a movie.
It was on the movie.
He gets tattooed. No regrets.
No
on his
regret.
Chest.
Regret.
R-A-G-R-E-T.
I thought that happened.
No regrets. And so the whole point here is to be authentic and consistent and congruent with that, so that you have no regrets. I have no regrets about my births. The only regret I have in my whole entire life, I have one regret. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
I did not break out of the house and go to the Prince concert my senior year in high school.
Oh my God.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Me neither. I know that was
That's the only regret that I have is I did not sneak out of the house and lie to my parents and go to the Prince concert.
That is hilarious.
Because I think that would have been like one of the highlights of my whole entire life was to go see Prince in concert.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, to bring this back around, I think some of the stuff that we had chatted about in preparation for this episode was the idea that the trying denotes the evidence, right? That it's happening for you, but it also speaks to a woman's lack of embodiment or where they are in their developmental age and stage, or them staying in their head.
So when you guys hear the word trying, because I know some of you guys are listening and you're gonna be like, okay, don't say the word try.
You're gonna start. You're gonna try. And then, so hard not to say the word try.
Yeah, try not to say try. But then also you're gonna be like, well, how do I act?
Yes.
Like no effort.
Yeah. Who
effort.
are you without that word and without that means of creating in your life, right? So there's like a exposing process of, okay. I actually really see that, especially in the example that I gave in the postpartum season where I'm like, yeah, I'll try to call you on Wednesday. I know I'm not calling that person on Wednesday.
No.
Don't call me on my birthday.
Don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah. Don't call me,
I got so many
period.
of don't call me. Just don't call me. Don't call me. I know it's there's like nothing more offending than if you go to check your Facebook and all of a sudden somebody's trying to call you on Facebook. I'm like, on what planet is this? This is absolutely not okay.
Sam's grandma always tries to call him on Facebook.
Do that.
I didn't know you could
No,
call
ma'am.
people on Facebook.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely freaking not.
I'm like, oh, Rosita's on the phone again.
So
Rosita.
is that grandma's name? Hi, Rosita. So as you guys are considering, like, okay, then this means that I need to actually
try not to try.
Yeah. Like, what do I do without that word? It's literally just a means of letting your yeses be yes and your no's be no's, and being clear on what are you creating. Like that clarity of what you guys were talking about, of going through a process of actually knowing yourself and knowing, just like the clothes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just bring it to simplicity's sake, to the clothes example.
Most people can get to clothes.
Yes, you guys can understand. Birth can be a little more like of a tense topic where people are like,
clothes,
no.
Most people can do that.
Yes. Literally just to know yourself enough to see something in a store or hanging up and being like, that was made for me. I'm going to get that now.
Totally.
I'm not even going to check the price tag at this point because I already know I'm
Here's
buying that.
My card.
Exactly. And that's a very clear process of self-knowing.
Right.
And so
your words will tell you all the time. Your words. When I tell people, like we do this in True North, right? I'm like, write it down. And then I'm like, now go back and read it or talk about it and go back and listen to it. They're like, oh, yes. I just created that.
Yes.
Most people do not listen to their own words or read their own words.
Totally.
Right? Because they think once it comes out of them, that's it. I'm like, oh, no. Actually, you want to use a good feedback loop? Use your own words.
Yes.
Because that will tell you everything that you need to know about what the echo is that you're gonna walk through here in just a minute.
We have in our intro in Rooted Families, we have told people if you're writing a post in Rooted Families, write the post and then just reread the post.
Please.
And then if you
For God's sakes, please reread the
it
post.
first, please.
and probably you're already going to see your answer right there.
Right there.
It's going to just jump out
right
of the
out
page
at you.
if you're just willing to look at yourself. And it's really just holding up a mirror
It is.
to yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about my process in preparing for birth and the effort or the trying or the lack of trying. It was because I guess I do want to also voice that women don't have to, especially women that aren't pregnant yet, you don't have to go through these birth experiences that are unpleasant or unfavorable to get the thing that you want.
Yeah.
You can just choose to have the thing that you want.
Right.
And in my preparation, so we've mapped out these birth archetypes in the Village Birth, and my preparation for birth, and this is 10 years ago now. So 2016 is when I attended my first birth with a doula association in Dallas. Shout out to North Dallas doulas, Melissa, Autumn Gore at the Cafe of Life. They really like ushered me into the birth world. My first birth attending was at a hospital. And I walk in.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was so interesting. It's very visual still for me. Like the visual is very intact
There's
for
a
me.
lot of stimulation there.
So much stimulation.
So much.
It was a birthing suite. So there was a really big room. There was a couch in there. And I remember I was there about 4 hours and it was the whole thing, like delayed labor, Pitocin, epidural, et cetera, et cetera. And the birthing woman was she was like seated up in a recline with her legs in they're not stirrups, but in the section for her legs. And the male OB was stretching her vagina as the baby's head was coming out because the perineum, the perineal massage. And the whole time the dad was laying on the couch and the doctors would come in and ask if you want to do XYZ. And he'd be like, well, I don't know what that is for my baby. Like, it's like the erythromycin and like shots and all the things. And she's kind of unconscious at this point, she's like in and out. And so he's like, what's that? And I'm like telling him, I'm like, this means this, or I'm just kind of informing consent. And so that whole dynamic was like so interesting. And then I'm watching and I'm like, whoo, thank you for that opportunity. I will never attend a birth at the hospital again. I really appreciate like you showing me this, but please only call me if there's going to be birth center births or birth center births or home births. And so the next one, so that felt like that was like that traditionalist. And I was like, okay, that is not for me. On to the next. We're going to go into this mismatched shopper season of my life. And I stayed there for a while. But the next birth was radically different. It was in a birthing center. And I was called technically to watch the kids. There was 2 other kids present in the birth center. And it was her son and her daughter, her older son and daughter. And the birthing mom was in the tub. The dad was there. It was the doula and then the midwife and the midwife assistant. And they were all around the tub. And they're like, Molly, just go hang out with the kids in the other room. And she doesn't want them present. But when she has the baby, she wants all the kids to come in. And so we were there for a couple hours. And then all of a sudden, I get called in. They're like, she wants the kids to come in here. And she was transitioning and she was crowning. And so the kids come in. And this is my first real birth, like watching something. There was no hands on her. Nobody was assisting her. Nobody was telling her what to do. She was in the tub just doing her thing, how she knew she wanted to do it. And she had a change of heart. She's like, bring the kids in. And it was actually watching the 6-year-old son that transformed like everything for me when he saw his sibling come out and his eyes lit up. And I was like, oh, that is birth. That is birth, like you're, changing family dynamics. I could get emotional about it, but you're changing generations, letting somebody see and witness.
Yeah, that was
it was heart
imprinted in his that changed him.
It changed his field. It changed his heart.
Right.
Changed his relationship with his sibling. All of it. And so I was like, that's natural. Like that's for me. That's nature.
Yeah.
Like that is that heart experience. No one's touching you. Everybody's like just supporting you, around you, holding you, and the field ripple from that.
Yeah.
Completely different than being numbed out or doing those things. And so my experience into my own preparation was through watching the physiology of other women unfold and being witness to that. And in preparation for this birth, so I guess even last birth with our first son, it was like there was no trying. I knew I was going to have a natural birth, and nature in the way that I was going to be undisturbed, nature in the way that it was going to be unassisted. There was not going to be medical assistance there. I didn't need medical assistance. That's what, like, I had that deep belief, like you did, in your body, where there was no trying.
Yeah.
The body knew.
Right.
And I kept coming back to that. And how many times I got asked in practice, like, how are you preparing?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Who are you going to use as a midwife? And it's like, I would always say, I'm just having a baby. I'm just going to have a baby. Yeah. And everyone's like, I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, me neither. It's just going to happen. I don't have to necessarily understand.
I loved something in me. Like whenever we were driving away from Molly's house, I've shared this story like 7 times now, where we were driving away and I was like, what just happened? My whole life just changed. My whole world, my whole world just changed because I just witnessed something that is for me in the future.
And also something that is so deeply innate to the human body, the female human body.
Right.
Very.
A baby coming through your vagina and entering the world in love and in like connection and village, right? That is so deeply innate to the human.
Completely.
Your lineage, your bones, the blood that's in you.
And that was in the, if you want to call it preparation for my 3rd birth experience, it was everything that was innate. And so in sitting with my options of, do I want to purchase a medical birth supply kit? Like when I was visualizing myself giving birth, that was not in the house, because I was like, to even choose to bring it in almost gives it you basically give it a job.
You give it permission.
You give it a job.
It's a permission
It's a permission
slip.
slip of like, if I'm going to spend my money and invest in this area, you know, just it's the same word as trying
for a free birth.
Yes,
but I'm going to
flipped.
buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same meaning and flipped.
And
the think, just in case story.
I think it's really important though to make a distinction here about it's not having the supplies that creates that, because I could practically run a small hospital out of my place.
Yes, we love your supplies.
But you guys all know that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? And yet I don't.
When Kua like almost like dislocated his elbow, I was like, tutu.
Yes.
You went helpless.
I'm like,
you went right bald. And I'm like, I got you, girl. Come on,
like,
we're going to do this.
Just give me some support right now.
We got it together. And I knew exactly what to do and it was okay. And so, but having those things doesn't make them happen. I also have very clear boundaries about how everything in my world serves me.
Yes. So with this conversation about trying, and for those of you guys listening that are like, yeah, I totally see myself in these examples and these stories, which is what's so great about sitting down and having conversations. What would be your first step towards knowing yourself and then getting to that inspired action as a process of knowing yourself first?
You know, what would it take for you to get to a place of radical honesty with yourself? If you tuned out your friends, your social media, what you think you know, what you've heard, and you could just sit with the heart in the womb and you're like, okay, what is it that we want? What is it that we will have?
The co-creation process.
Yeah, what is the part, what will we create? The desire in my heart, the knowing that I hold in my womb, and what will that be in the face of anyone who wants to distract me or disturb me or misdirect me? That what do we know that we know? And then start there. Start with that thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It just has to be from the co-created spaces, right?
Totally.
Yeah, and if you can get super honest about that and not be performing and not be regrets, it's really just about what you know you're here for and having like no shame and no regrets in that. Can you get to that space? If you know that that what you're going to have is a C-section, set that stuff up. If you know that you're going to need assistance with contractions, you already know it.
Yep.
You already feel the presence or absence of waveform in your body.
Yep.
Just acknowledge it and own it. Just really freaking own it.
And then if it's not what you want, the thing that comes up and you know it's not what you want,
Change.
Have the courage to make a different decision.
Yeah.
And if you need
Change the channel.
Yeah, change your channel. Tune your frequency to a different station. And if you need the support in that, this is where it all comes back to that foundational resourcing and moving your body moves your world around. It rearranges your cellular structure. And so start with some of the foundational principles that we've outlined.
Yeah. And if you guys want support and guidance in that area, when we created the resource and rooted method that went into the village birth, it was resourcing first.
Right. Purposely.
Getting resourced. Yeah, super purposeful. And then whenever we mapped out the 4 birth archetypes, Molly was referencing a couple of them in the podcast episode. If you haven't heard them before, like the mismatched shopper or the traditionalist, we placed together a story arc framework where if you're like, yeah, okay, so this is currently what I feel is a correct representation of myself, and I would like to take the next step towards something else. Like when I'm honest with myself, yeah, what I desire right now is the comfort of, if comfort means to you, a safety in the sense of that means that there's an authority figure that is calling the shots and you've got medical supplies on hand. Great. That is the honesty piece. If safety to you and comfort to you means being at home in your bed with your husband and baby coming out, fantastic. So there's a method that we put together in actually like tracking and mapping out and actually taking the next step towards the next developmental piece, if that's something you want to choose. There's no right or wrong here. It's literally just honesty with yourself. Do you want to make a different choice? Are you bored with hearing your own story? That was me.
Me
I was
too.
pretty bored with the story of birth has to be crazy, painful, and suffering and long and blah, 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 and dramatic. And I wanted to make a different decision. And I did. And that's the experience that I had.
Totally.
Who are you without the pain?
Yep.
Who are you without the fear? Who are you without other people's stories? Who are you without all this other stuff? And if you can get there, then your answer will be there.
Yeah. And your babies will thank you for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to talk more about some of my secondary gains that when I look back on my C-section, I'm like, oh, there was an unmet desire that I wanted from certain things in the way that I was speaking that I got from my entire experience, and especially from my C-section, how that actually really served me and what I, underneath the surface, I wouldn't have admitted to you back then. But with this vantage point that I have now, I'm like, oh my gosh, there were so many secondary gains to the experience that I had. And if that's not dropping in for you guys right now, like if that's not there where you're like, nope,
Can't see it.
can't see it. So something's wrong with this conversation and it's just, it's not real for me. Give yourself time and space. Give yourself, like, sit with it.
And like Michelle said, listen to what you've said. Listen to how you talk about your story or write your story down and then look at the words. Usually you can pull out and extract, oh, that actually served me
100%.
in this way.
Sitting quietly with yourself with a journal and a pen can be huge.
Yeah,
huge
big
in your
medicine.
process. We have a code for you guys. If you're a podcast listener and you want to plug into the Village Birth, it is VSP, all caps, 50. And that'll give you $50 off of the Village Birth. And
Yeah,
see you
we'll see
in
you in
the
there. See you
we'll
in the
there.
kitchen
We'll
sessions.
see you in the kitchen sessions
Join us
shortly
in the
after.
back.
Gonna go grab my babe. Gonna go get some food.
Let's do it.
And we'll see you back there.
Bye, guys.
Baby Malloy.
I called you Red.